Is public speaking fear the number one fear, or is it just you? Maybe you felt like this, that when you're nervous and afraid, it's like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. And I just wanted to stop. And I'm so alone in this. Nobody else can understand. I feel like I have like a mane today. uh, and if there's something wrong with me, right? There's something wrong with me that I'm nervous. I'm doing badly. I'm really bad at this. Instead of having the perspective that, oh, other people get nervous, it's actually really normal to be nervous. And that's where the statistics come in. Is public speaking fear the number one fear? And maybe you've heard the statistic that public speaking is the number one fear in America. And in fact, the studies show that on the list of things that people fear, there's like heights and insects and I think lizards or snakes, deep water, and then there's death as I remember number 7. So number 1 is public speaking, and then all these other things, and then death is number 7. I love that Jerry Seinfeld quote. He says, if this statistic is true, it means that if we're all at a funeral, we'd rather be in the casket than up giving the eulogy. And I always joke, like, is that really true? If it really came down to it, would we choose to be in the casket? And the truth is no, right? But there's a perceived sense of fear that if I had to choose, I would be more afraid of public speaking than of just dying, right? So there's lots of studies that have been done. You can Google if you want public speaking fear statistics or studies to see that there's a range. You know, sometimes public speaking is the number one fear that comes out, and sometimes it's down to number 2 or 3 or 4. So I can't blanketly say that public speaking is the number one fear, but I also think it's one of those things that is self-reported, and how that there's some shame associated with it. So we don't want to admit that we're afraid of public speaking. You know what I mean? And in fact, it's so common to be afraid of public speaking that you almost sort of write it off. Like, okay, I guess that just happens. It's like normal. And you think, well, if my public speaking fear has to be really bad, like I have to have public speaking anxiety and panic attacks around it and all that in order to call it really my number one fear. But in reality, if we really just tested or somehow studied what people were afraid of and what stimulated fear and nervousness and anxiety in them, I think public speaking would absolutely be the number one across, all cultures in the world, probably, at least modern, westernized kind of cultures. And then the question to ask, excuse me, the next question to ask is why? Why is it the number one fear? Or why do so many people have public speaking anxiety? And here's my answer for that. I think that we as a species are scared by public speaking because it triggers a primal panic in us, an unconscious primal panic of being set apart from you could say, tribe or the family. So if I'm set apart from other people and I'm on my own and everyone's looking at me, that means that something is wrong here. Are you following me? Like if we think back to way back when we lived in like clans as humans, that we lived in small family units or small tight-knit communities, then if you took yourself out of the group and turned to face them and they're facing you, this is a risky experience. This is a risky moment. Sometimes in that scenario, you would be you're ostracized, or they'd want to kill you, or they'd turn against you. So it was very risky for your survival. I mean, if you think of this in terms of any tribal animal, I don't know if tribal is the right word, an animal in the wild that tends to move in groups. There's a word for that. I can't think of it. But there's certain animals that like to be on their own, and there's certain animals that like to be in tribes. So a tribal animal, as soon as one of that animal is isolated from the rest of the group, it's a risky situation. There are predators that are going to come after it. The tribe might abandon it. So it's like that on a primal level for us too, that I am here all on my own. Ugh, and it's very difficult to find your grounding. So we have to be compassionate with this primal fear, because it's real, first of all. It's happening, and we feel it through all these symptoms in our body, in our primal body, right? These primal symptoms of my heart is racing as if I'm being chased. My sweat glands are opening as if there's stress happening. My muscles are getting tight, ready to take action. All of this is a primal response to a feeling of threat. So it's real. This fear is real. This panic is real. So you can have compassion towards it. That's really important. And just going back to my notes to make sure I'm touching on everything. Here we go. Yeah, what you can do to reduce fear and increase confidence. Yeah. So having compassion for your nervous system, accepting that it's happening. But then also in our modern world, we can start to notice very consciously, very logically, oh, I'm safe. Oh, everything is okay right now. You can even look at the people in your audience and realize, oh, this person is here to support me. They believe in what I'm saying. They're interested. They might have a different perspective, but that doesn't mean that I'm doing it badly. So it can start to really work with some logic, some frontal cortex logic, to overcome or use your logic to move out of the primal panic. I also teach a lot of somatic techniques that help you soothe your nervous system. So you can grab the roadmap that I have or the performance anxiety toolkit to learn more about that. But sometimes we just need to talk ourselves down. When there's this, it's understand what's happening, like, oh, interesting, this is happening. I'm having primal panic right now. Interesting, this is happening to me. Oh, I'm safe right now. And some of the somatic tools are, I can feel my feet. I'm breathing. I feel my heart racing, but I know I'm okay. All of these things can start to build an understanding that you're all right and that you don't have to freak out when you're in the spotlight. That being said, I don't think primal panic ever fully goes away. I had a speaking gig yesterday. I haven't had one for a while. It's COVID time, so I don't do a lot anymore, other than like Facebook Lives like this. My cat wants to be part of this Facebook Live. I had a speaking gig yesterday. It was a little one. It was pretty low stakes, but I noticed this nervousness come up in me. This flush of nervousness and excitement and yeah. And the difference between how I related to it yesterday and how I related to my nervousness 10 years ago is huge. Because it used to put me into this primal panic place where I would just shut down. And it's like head down, get through this scenario, the situation, get it over with. And then I'd be full of shame afterwards thinking I didn't do very well. Well, yesterday I noticed, oh, wow, I'm getting nervous. Oh, wow, I'm getting that feeling that I've had before. And I let it fuel my excitement and my motivation and the amount of energy that I had to give to my audience. And I let it flow. It did not stop me or hold me back. Now that's how we want to start to relate to the primal panic, is that we let it fuel us. That it, but instead of being a fight or flight response that is shut down and then becomes a freeze response of tightness, that fight or flight response can be used. All that energy that your body is generating can be used for your expression. That's when you have a healthy relationship with your body, your primal body, and a healthy relationship with your nervous system. Let me know if this was helpful for you. To bring us back full circle, public speaking, I think, is the number one fear, and it's not just you. We all experience public speaking fear on a primal level. So learn to accept that about yourself and your experience. Be compassionate towards yourself and choose some logical thinking to walk yourself out of that panic mode, right? So it doesn't hold you back or stop you. All right, I hope this was helpful. Write to me in the chat box what your biggest takeaways were, and then hop over to the Facebook group. Join us over there for the ongoing conversation about overcoming anxiety as introverted women and finding our authentic confidence. I will see you next week.